Welcome to the Know Thyself channel. Peace, love, respect, and loyalty to the upliftment of human species, because common sense ain't common. So now we're about to go on this poetic journey. God bless it with some, down back home language. Here we go. I am past the nonsense. I am past the nonsense. I am here to testify what I heard and saw on that day in the house of common sense. The judge of common ground was overseeing a wager between self-ignorance and self-awareness, over whom of the two of them was better at guiding the self toward self-sustainability. Self-ignorance said, if your honor would teach me magic, I will self to hate self and self-awareness. Self-ignorance said, I only need one magic trick and I can make self hate you too, Judge. Self-awareness said, I don't think so. The judge asked self-awareness, will you consider the wager of self-ignorance? That he can make self hate self and you? Self-awareness said, I'm intrigued, but I want to know which magic trick. I might have stipulations. The judge asked self-ignorance, will you reveal the trick you desire? Self-ignorance said, of course. I want the hide spell to hide self-awareness's mirror from the self. I can guide self in the ways of self-sustainability with hate for self and self-ignorance. Self-awareness laughed. The judge asked self-awareness, will you agree to self-ignorance's terms? Self-awareness smiled. Under one condition, that self-sustainability remains within the mathematical principles inherent in nature. Self-ignorance said, no problem, but I have a stipulation. If I win, I rule the self and self-awareness eternally. They will answer to me. Self-awareness currently rules. Therefore, self-awareness needs something to lose. The judge asked, do both parties agree with the terms? Both respond in unison. Will do. Self-awareness started laughing, saying, you know that everything in nature is made from the same mathematical principles in nature, including the self. And despite you removing my mirror, everything in nature reflects the self. It's the same image. The appearance of difference lives in accessories. Self-awareness starts laughing uncontrollably. Self-ignorance smirked. You think you smart. They won't be able to see that without your mirror. Ha, said self-awareness. There's more than enough opportunity to deduce truth using the scientific process. The mind's nature is to correct itself. That's what you think, said self-ignorance. Them having the mirror and seeing themselves in everything, they see this entire realm as a garden. But when the mirror is hidden, they will be lost in a wilderness of desperation, apathy, hopelessness, poverty, and suffering to survive, willing to do anything with the scientific process for relief. That's when I'll arrive with knowledge and applications to pacify their discomforts. They'll be in a land that knows self, and yet they do not. They'll need a king. I'll choose my liaisons, educate them in the ways of self-ignorance, and ignorance will build a new kingdom. Remember, says self-awareness, sustainability of self must remain within the natural order. They can apply science with the elements in any creative way within the natural order of mathematical principles, like a tree of life, versus the application of science with the elements in unnatural mathematical combinations disregarding the natural order, like a tree of knowledge of good and evil. Yeah, says self-ignorance. In the end, self-sustainability is self-sustainability. For a moment or millennia, to have rule will be my reward. Win, lose, or draw. Self-ignorance, the magician, is the devil. The devil, depending on point of view. A trickster hides things before our eyes, and despite sight, we are blind. Self-ignorance spread across the land, throwing hooks on lines, call and response, call signs burning books, dark times building mints, common sense, a monetary conscience sense, the foundation upon which all its self-ignorance institutions thrive are faltered. Re-educating self-awareness in the city life of self-ignorance as well, where wills are altered to beggars, dependence. Dependent survival is tax determinant on denominations, as self-ignorance trades self-interest for interest rates. Stock in self for live stocks. Natural order's mathematical bond for bonds. While we market our self-value based on our economic perceptions of value, unaware of our self-value, our nation's capital, brain Washington. To self-awareness' surprise, self-ignorance has the masses hooked on designs that fashion the industry of trends, trading traditions, and competition with the best look of success. Self-ignorance filled the conquest of the contest. Self-awareness knows what's next. Send the followers of self-ignorance a self-help for health and wealth text. Lacking self-awareness, the followers of self-ignorance couldn't translate the text. Also, it was allegorical. Self-awareness couldn't be literal. That would be like unveiling a mirror, and that would be a forfeit. But the followers of self-ignorance took the contents literal in the context. The followers of self-awareness started to travel throughout the wilderness where gold exists. To some, this idol is a precious gift, a mint. The followers of self-ignorance mixed the self-help text with gold mints. Self-awareness sent self-will to carry the burdens of self-ignorance. A sacrifice. Will's power to overcome self-ignorance. Presence. Here. We are in the mystery.